All right, welcome back into Great Day Washington. Today marks the last day of American Heart Month, but we know it's very important. We know a healthy heart is key to our overall health, but getting in that cardio doesn't have to be intimidating or really even require that expensive gym membership.
Yeah, there are some solutions. So Woodward, who is the manager and trainer at Ultimate Performance DC, is here to break down a few simple yet effective moves that will get the heart pumping at any age. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Closing out Heart Health Month with you. Why is it so important to make sure that we're getting that cardiovascular health?
So cardiovascular disease is the biggest killer of men and women in most racial and ethnic groups in the United States. Every 34 seconds, someone will die of cardiovascular disease in the US. And in 2020, they estimated around 697,000 people died of cardiovascular related disease, which made up about 1/5 of total deaths in the US. So it's a serious problem.
Yes. Well, we were just talking food in the last segment. So when we're thinking food, are there certain foods that can help us in that regard?
Well, not necessarily certain foods. The key thing is making sure that we're focusing on getting 3 solid meals during the day and avoiding snacking. If we look at a time where heart disease rates were lower, you tend to notice that food habits focused around 3 bigger meals and as opposed to having lots of different snacks. Another thing that can really help as well is making sure activity starts to go up. So 10,000 steps is a fantastic benchmark. I'm sure you've all heard that. Yeah. But doing things as simple as taking the stairs instead of the elevator, taking calls on a walk, and maybe just incorporating an evening walk into your daily routine is a great way to do that.
We all have our watch that alerts us. We need our steps, so we're always walking around.
My mom and I were just talking about how hard it is to get that 10,000 steps, though. So doing the step, like getting
just incorporating little habits. Yeah, exactly that. And they did a study in 2021 as well that showed those that sort of reached closer to 10,000 steps per day as opposed to maybe 3,500 had a 42% lower risk of COVID as well. So it transcends other health factors as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And they also saw stop smoking.
Yes.
Does not help with the heart, obviously.
No, it does not. Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing to cut out as well.
That's the first place where I'd start. You also have some easy exercises for us today, right?
Yes, absolutely. So as you guys were saying, you don't have to do anything overly complex, and you don't have to have a very expensive gym membership in order to be able to get in better shape. And you can do all of this from the comfort of your own home as well. So the 3 movements we're going to go over today are a squat, a Romanian deadlift, and a push-up. So the squat, we're going to have a little heel wedge. A lot of people struggle with the mobility that they have in their ankles in particular. So a heel wedge just offsets that. And what you're going to do is you're going to take either a dumbbell, or if you don't have a dumbbell at home, you could use something like a backpack with some books. It's something as simple as that.
Child? Can I put my child?
You can, yeah, exactly that. You're going to keep the weight nice and close, and then you're just going to think about breaking at the hip and the knee, and you're going to control nice and controlled all the way down, and then you're going to push back up to the foot.
Come back up.
All the way down.
3 sets of 10 reps is going to be a more than effective range, and then look to make sure that you're either increasing the reps, the sets, or the weight that you're using. For those that don't have weight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've tried the elevated. I love doing those so much better than regular squats.
Yeah, so it helps most people get into that bottom.
Really?
It helps people get into that position.
Yeah.
A lot of people have ankle mobility issues, so it just helps offset any of those.
So much better. But we could also use...
Yeah, so if you don't have that kind of equipment, or you're not as confident going into weighted squats to start with, you can utilize something like a chair. That's going to be really useful for standardizing the reps and sort of giving you an idea of how low you should be going.
Okay.
The next is going to be a Romanian deadlift. So this is an exercise that's going to work all the posterior muscles, so all of your glutes, your hamstrings, and also your upper back. So you just want to think about pushing your hips backwards, keeping a nice flat back, slightly soft knees, nice and controlled down, and you're going to pause at the bottom, and then you're just going to come back up, hips forward. And yeah, just making sure that we're in control of weights is going to be really, really important, because if we're going too quickly, that's when form starts to break down and all those muscle groups that we're trying to work are going to lose tension. And then the final one is an upper body movement. So I'm sure we've all heard of a push-up.
Yes.
We're going to get into, so this is a standard push-up.
I can get my workout.
Shoulders over the hands, just like this. Feet on our toes. We're going to control down, so we want our hips and our chest to go down to the ground at the same time. And then we're going to push back up.
You see how low he got?
If you are struggling to get normal push-ups, a really good way to regress that movement is just to go onto your knees, exact same position, so shoulders over the hands, and then you just control that.
Oh, much better. But you're going back. Your elbows go back kind of out.
Yeah, so you don't want to be too close and you don't want to be too wide. Just under the shoulders, shoulder width grip is going to be perfect.
Allie, great points, great workout. Where can we find you guys?
So we are in DuPont Circle and in the Metro Center, and yeah, we've got a gym in Bethesda as well.
You're amazing. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
You good? You good?
Think I can read this tease? Let's see.